Guess what, chicken butt? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Guess what, chicken butt? Whoa, 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 whoa.
Brian wants to do a podcast.
Hey, hi, hello. This is Friend Dog Studios, and welcome to Brian Wants to Do a Podcast. The podcast where we're still trying to figure out what kind of podcast it's gonna be all these episodes in and later. I'm Ben Oxshire.
That's Ben Oxshire.
And that's Brian.
I'm Brian Huther. We are on the air. We are broadcasting over the airwaves right into you.
That means sort of. If it's over Wi-Fi or you're streaming this from a cell tower, I guess.
We are on the actual old radio.
Here we are on the old radio with Ben and Brian. Kaponka!
How did you make your voice sound like it was coming through an old AM radio wave like that?
Something fucked up my vocal cords once upon a time, and I got a really bad superpower.
Oh no, amplitude modulation, man.
I go around, and when there's crime, I bend the sound waves in the air, and I'm working on a way that will help.
All right, quick, let's finish robbing this here bank.
Hold on!
Whoa!
I'm here, it's Amplitude Modulation Man, and we're live on the air. Bow.
What's he got there?
It looks like a microphone of some kind. Maybe a transmitter?
What you gonna do with that?
Oh, I think I'm gonna wear hockey pants.
Wow, we have crossed into a whole different
That
film.
was just a soundboard. I have a soundboard over here. Wearing hockey pants.
I think we're being accosted by some kind of morning shock jock what's lost his flavor.
Call in for your chance to stop doing crime.
I think that we can probably get away from this guy.
No, I want to stay. I want to hear the traffic report before we get in the getaway car.
And now on the nines, it's traffic with your man, Helicopter Jones. Go.
It's Helicopter Jones here, pretty expensive helicopter. To be honest, I'm so busy flying the helicopter and trying not to die inside of it that I can't be bothered to look down and see what the traffic patterns may be like. I'm scared of them. I'm very Italian. I know!
Helicopter Jones is sitting in a studio right down the hall.
Don't give away my secret!
There's no helicopter.
I took the money. I've spent it all already. All the money that we stole from the bank. In the time that it took to do that, I invested in stocks and options. And I'm rich now.
I would like to invest in options just so that I have some.
Just life options.
Yeah, it's like-
Can I invest in the option where my career's going better?
Yeah, can I invest in an option where I understand how to carry on relationships?
Could I invest in the option where I'm like 40 pounds lighter?
Can I invest in an option where, like, I have a choice whether or not to leave the United States?
I don't know. I don't know how options work.
Seems like a good way to measure the health of our economy. I don't want to get into politics in this program.
No, we never do that.
Politics and religion, we like to leave them at the dinner table where they belong.
We like to leave them at the dinner table and Christmas.
Yeah.
Those are the two places.
At the Christmas table and the dinner table.
I'm the dinner table.
Get out of here. Get out.
Oh no, give it to him.
I'm picturing, have you ever seen a tapir?
Tapir.
A tapir?
Taper.
Is that an animal?
It's an animal, yeah.
Is it like sort of a primate?
No, it actually looks a little bit like a pig, but with a stunted sort of elephant trunk
Kind
on
of like
its face.
an Alf.
Yeah, kind of like an elf on all fours, and not as furry.
Wow.
But I'm
He's
the
on
dinner
Alf four.
table. I'm envisioning as a tapir.
Taper.
You know, Brian, it's been a month since we last released a real episode of this
Yeah, it's been.
podcast. 1 month since I post things. Oh, nowhere to go with that.
I did hear from someone that they listened through the entire Klabunt episode because they really thought something was going to happen.
Yeah, so for anyone who missed that or is like listening back in archives or something, I got busy with another job, and so I couldn't hit the deadline. And then Brian says, "Oh, I'm just gonna post like a little thing to the patrons to let them know there won't be a new episode." And I was just like, "Okay, great." And so I see him; he's recording something, and then I left for a while, and I come back, and he's like still working on it, and I'm just like, "Man, this is quite a message." And it's not until like a week later that I actually listened to what he put in the feed, and it was half an hour of what, German poetry?
That's correct.
German poetry from LibriVox, from a royalty-free database of literature.
Yeah. I found it actually very calming. I enjoyed listening to it, but that's largely because I find that the music and audio that I like to listen to lately is anything that helps me dissociate.
I too find myself leaning towards things that I cannot make sense of, since everything I can make any sense of is horrifying.
Yeah, absolutely. Some days I actually feel like physically sick.
Yeah. Hey, Brian, what do you want to do a podcast about?
Oh boy, I've got an idea for you today, Benjamin. You know how sometimes you have to say something to someone that's very uncomfortable and you don't want to do it?
Yeah.
What if there was a couple of guys who would do it for you?
Oh.
And those two guys were us and you and me.
All right.
And that's 3.
We could call it like Don't Shoot, the Messenger podcast.
That seems like it has maybe some other resonances at the moment that
You're right.
we should want to. I
immediately regret it.
I do have a title. I think we could call it Breaking News with Ben and Brian, where we break the news to people.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not breaking general news. We're breaking very specific news to individual
people. So someone would write in and they'd say like, okay, I really need to tell my partner that I cheated on them and also we're breaking up.
Right.
And they don't want to do it, obviously. Who would?
Right.
I mean, a real psychopath.
A real Johnny come lately.
A real Johnny come never.
Yeah.
More like.
A real Johnny never come around.
We're just like a real Johnny, you go around, you better not come around because I won't stand for this kind of malarkey on my porch. Bang, bang, shotgun, bang, bang. Johnny.
Yeah, one of those kind of Johnnies.
Right. So, and then what we would do is we would go on a little documentary adventure to talk to this person and try to break the news in as palatable a way as possible and maybe have a little fun.
So here's what this reminds me of right off the bat. And I
Okay.
think you've done this too. I know you've done this too. The radio calls that you and I have at times done. Now, I don't even think I'm legally supposed to say this. But I think if I don't
You're listening to Crime on the Air.
I think if I don't mention the actual company names, it's fine.
Let's just say this. What if there was a service
Yeah.
that radio stations could hire
Yeah.
to have real sounding people, they're real people, but like real people in the way that they are physical, corporeal human beings, not in the way that they are not actors pretending stuff.
Brian is looking for the word actor.
When they are to hire actors. If there were a service wherein radio stations could hire an actor, man or woman, or anything, whatever you are, there's no reason to break it down by gender, really.
Brian is looking for the word actor.
If there were a service wherein a radio person could hire an actor person to be on their radio program to portray a non-actor person in whatever regard, whether that's, hey, I love your show, I like to listen to it, or will you please play Beyonce's #1 jam, Milk Milk Lemonade?
Or, for instance, perhaps they would hire an actor to call in and say, I suspect that my partner might be cheating on me. I would like you, the radio host, to call them up and trick them into admitting it. And then they would, except they'd only be calling another actor because the whole thing would be scripted.
Yeah.
That'd be a company that could exist.
Yeah, I mean, technically, there's no law against it.
There's not.
So this does seem a little bit like that.
I don't want to get too into the legal stickiness of such a concept, except to say that, we would need people's permission, I think, in most contexts to use their voices on the air.
Well, permission is a funny thing. What we would need is their signature. And there's sort of a difference between the two things. The other thing we could do is
Do one of those voice things like they
Right.
do on the documentary.
Right, we could change their voice,
'cause if
change their names. We could use false names for everybody.
if Christopher Hansen, MMMBop, can have a whole pedophile in a room and make a big deal of telling them to stop and go home and think about what you've done, except maybe prison. I don't know.
Why don't you have a seat? Why don't you have a seat right there? Why don't you have a seat right there by the MMMBop tippy top by
Is Chris
doo-wop?
Hansen at WC Fields?
Doo-wop by doo-wop, dooby-dop by doo, yeah. And that's when we made the arrest. And in an MMMBop, he's gone. And in an MMMBop, you don't care. And in an MMMBop, he's gone. And when he get old, start losing his hair, can you tell me who will still care? Am I the only one who remembers any of the words to MMMBop besides MMMBop?
Is that there? Are there?
Yeah.
Oh, is that real?
Those were all lyrics from the MMMBop song.
And when I get old,
And when you get old, start losing your hair. Can you tell me who will still care? Yeah. It's part of MMMBop.
wow,
The music song.
this is the second time we've referenced Hansen on this show. This is for the people who are keeping the wiki.
And Hansen, the members of Hansen just look at their Google alerts and they're just like, they said it again.
Yeah, they do. That's right. Because we have transcription services on the podcast. You can search the text of the podcast from beginning to end, from port to stern,
Pitch and yaw.
from pitch to yaw, from inverted y-axis to normal x-axis. My preferred way to play.
Come on, get your mortar and pestle.
I would, how you can diagram sentences?
Sure.
I would be curious to see if it's possible to do that with an episode of our show. Like, can you go from start to finish and try to track, mind map it out? Here they took a little detour just to say MMMBop a few times.
Yeah. Somebody's got push pins and yarn for decades.
Push pins and yarn.
Yes, W.C. Fields here, push puns and yarn. I got gin blossoms on my face and some kind of bumps on my nethers.
Hi, I'm Chris Hansen. Why don't you have a seat right over there, W.C. Fields?
MMMBop. Well,
Turns out the W.C. stands for with children.
Oh, no.
Sit down. Have an MMMBop you care.
Okay.
We'll just maybe reset and do comedy again.
All right. Let's talk Patreon. Hey, if you didn't know, now you know. We got a patreon.com/frienddog. If you want to go on over there, you can give us a couple of bucks to do what it is that we do, and you can get access to some back catalog type things, and you'll have our undying love and appreciation. And one of these days, I'd like to get back to adding a lot more content to it. Patreon.com/frienddog.
What I did yesterday is I spent about $25 getting chicken to my house without having to leave.
Yes.
And I think about that. That's one day of chicken.
If you pledge to us $1 per release, that $25 would probably last you a year or so.
When you think about the ultimate cost of making our day, when compared to the cost of ordering yourself a chicken feast,
you can go to patreon.com/frienddog. Give it to us, not the chicken guy. I mean, the dinner taber's just going to eat it anyway.
Dinner Tabers since 1975, bringing you the Tabor to you.
I think this concept of delivering people news that other people don't want to deliver is kind of interesting.
Yeah, and I do think that there would be sometimes fun ways. Think about it in song.
Yeah?
Just like a little poem.
Right.
Here we are, two clowns who say, look at us who flounce today. We pounce and prance and dance and dance. And now we have to tell you pants are stained with fluids by someone else, for your sweet significant other has gone and done it with someone.
What I appreciate about the form of that poem was that there wasn't one.
It was very much not.
If it was like if Freeform was trying not to be.
The other thing is we could do it intergalactically. Delivering intergalactic bad news.
I like the idea that we could make first contact with an alien species, and then second contact would just be it's not working out.
What if we did find an alien life and they were just they were just such nerds,
right,
that we didn't want to be seen with them.
We're aliens and we're gonna barbecue. And I'm putting my hand inside this cup of noodles.
Our species has a built-in fanny pack.
Oh, you mean like a pouch?
No, there's a zipper and my asthma medication is inside.
I'm gonna wear this visor with a hole in the top of it for my head.
Here's my allergy card. It has all known elements on it.
Honestly, I just don't think it would be a good scene for anybody involved.
No.
That strikes me as like, first of all, the chances that there is alien life within traveling distance of us that we have not yet detected, and that also that they are the very best ever.
Yeah.
It's just so...
It's pretty low. It's
Yeah.
pretty low. You know, the older...
Oh, sorry, wait. We're talking about aliens. I was thinking about my chances of finding someone to spend my life with.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's the same kind of principle. The older your planet gets, the sort of smaller the dating pool is.
Earth is getting old, and it is still not married.
It's full on middle aged. It's 4-point-something billion years. It's got about 4-point-something billion years to go.
And honestly, like the habits that it has developed so far, not looking good. Not looking good. It does not eat well. It does not exercise. It is a smoker.
But it's getting hotter all the time.
It just keeps getting hotter for some reason. Like the more it smokes, like the more it engages in self-destructive behavior, the hotter it seems.
Swiping right on comets and shit. Just like
It's like we'll take anything.
it's just like, are you kidding? That comet is only 300 million years old. That is a baby.
I mean, if we had to break the news to humanity, as if it wasn't already.
As if that water wasn't broken. That's what I was
as if look,
our
it's
water
time we
broke.
break the water on this.
We gotta break the water.
It's time. Look, it's time something breaches here. Is that when it's always when it's bad, when it comes out the wrong way that it breaches? No, it's not.
Are you talking about childbirth
Babies?
right now?
Yeah, baby birth.
I don't know.
I think we should call it baby birth. I like
Baby
that
birth?
better than childbirth.
Yeah.
I like baby birth.
Because they're not coming out a full-fledged child.
No, and also like the alliteration just makes it more fun to say.
Yeah.
It just sort of razzes up the whole occasion.
They're the newest baby.
Yeah.
And they look terrible. Nobody talks about that, but like they look awful.
Everybody's-
They're weird little skin bag potato people. I mean, they get real cute, but it takes like weeks.
And
they look like a factory reject Beanie Baby who got folded up in the dryer.
yeah, and the conversation is awful.
Oh yeah, they don't know shit.
They don't know shit
They're
about
not
shit.
caught up. They're so proud of the fact that they don't watch TV, but they don't have anything else interesting to contribute.
It's not like
either.
they read. It's not like they do something better. It's just that they don't do this thing.
They define themselves by what they're not,
Yeah.
and they don't fill their minds or their hearts with anything else.
Like, how did you get to be 5 days old and you still define yourself in opposition to things?
Yeah, like what? Have you been busy? Let's do cones and prawns.
Cones and prawns.
Cones and prawns. What's going on? The cones are pros and the cons are prawns.
Yep, that's right.
It's cones and prawns.
God.
We're gonna beat state any day now.
Yeah, we're gonna beat. We're gonna compete against state.
It's gonna be
we're
pitch perfect 4.
We're gonna beat state. We're not gonna win the state championship.
No, we're gonna beat
We're
state.
gonna beat the whole state.
So, pros, cones, prawns.
Cones and prawns. What's going on?
Cone. This is a pretty compelling idea. I think a lot of people would at least give this a shot. They'd be like, "Ooh, that sounds juicy."
Yeah, it's got a very like reality TV. Like let's all have
a crack into somebody's life. But maybe for the people who are kind of interested in that, but find just basic reality TV to be kind of grating,
distasteful.
Yeah.
I feel like for them though, this, and a lot of reality TV does this now, which is like it throws in a little sweetener, which is like, hey, now we're also going to be learning about such and such. We're going to teach you about effective communication while we actually just watch people experience traumatic moments.
Like how Queer Eye for the Straight Guy used to just be like, you're gross. Quit being so gross. And now it's just like, we're going to transform this person's life because they're so good and nice. Like, yeah, you think we forgot?
Oh, man. The human race is developing empathy at a really bad time. Just like it's coming down to the wire. I think that prawn is that it would be some hard work to like get in, like set up meetings with people to trick them into signing a piece of paper.
I want to hire whatever team Sacha Baron Cohen uses to get away with his nonsense.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Just like if we had the funding, just hire them because they seem to be able to get away with pretty much anything.
I think if I was going to be a lawyer, that's the kind of lawyer I would want to be. Because I want to have fun at my job.
Any others?
Is it on brand for us? We have a brand. It's goofy. It's non-sequitorial. Doing that non-sequitorial work.
Honestly, I think in order for it to be on brand for us. The messages we delivered would need to not ever actually be all that serious.
Yeah, because we don't ever talk about serious stuff and then like find ourselves in a quagmire of depressing facts and have to try to fight our way out.
I mean, we do that, but we don't involve other people in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Like,
it's not like, hey, guess what Becky did? She's global warming now. If we had enough submissions, I think we could totally screen for bummers.
We could definitely screen for bummers. I mean, honestly, men like us who, once they pass a certain age, you should be getting regularly screened for bummers. Scale of 1 to 10. 1 is the loneliest number. 10 is a crowd. What do you think?
I got to give this one, I think, a 7. I mean, I think, to be honest, it's really a fun idea.
It's a really good idea.
But, you know, it would be, there's some challenges and some prawns.
I would also give this one a 7. It's one of those that I feel like this is a great idea for someone. I don't know if it's a great idea for us.
Once again, this podcast needs a legal team to just go copyright and file all of our amazing ideas.
Yeah.
Because we still have that movie pitch for Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
We still have the great idea for a new religion.
So, 7s across the board for that. The lucky lady goes home with a snake eye. I'm Ben Oxher.
I'm Brian Huther, and I want to do a podcast.
And we will see you on the next episode of Brian Wants to Do a Podcast.
And this is my provisional catchphrase.